absolute quiet. Rodgers surveying, fires. That's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Open Book. This is a little different. I don't usually do these intros. I don't bring everybody in. I don't start the show. But hey, you know what? When things happen in life, you just have to roll with it. I'm not doing that, by the way. So don't think I'm like smart or anything. And I know how to work StreamYard because I'm not. I'm an idiot. But thankfully, the person with me is not an idiot, and she's probably going to carry the show. Janelle, hi.
Hi. Been a stressful 30 minutes, but yeah, here we are.
Stressful probably doesn't even really encapsulate it properly. It's been a little overwhelming. We have no idea what is going on right now, but regardless, the show must go on. And Jen, like I said, I'm gonna lean on you a lot because you are the one with the notes, and you are the
maybe because
one.
a minute before the show, you're like, "Hey, what are we doing?"
No, that's that's not what happened. I didn't even finish my sentence. I didn't even say that.
Mm-hmm.
See, you make up things, and you just make me sound like a villain. Everyone wants to make me sound like a villain. Parker, to answer your question, actually, how do I?
You click on the comment, and then
I was about to
do
that, but Jacob, the guy behind
we
the
have
scenes
Jacob behind the scenes, so
yeah. So Eli is alive. He's just not here right now. So
he was here, and then he wasn't, and here we are, stuck with us.
Pretty much, yeah. So regardless, we do have football things to talk about. Things that I don't think Packers Twitter appreciated very much. They brought back Kevin King on a 1-year, $6 million deal. What were like when you saw that? What were really your initial thoughts? Like, what did you think?
I mean, just kind of what I was reading, and everybody was kind of getting those hints that, oh, maybe he will come back. Like, it was kind of a joke at first, and then all of a sudden I was like, ha 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 ha, it could happen, and then it did happen. So I mean, I didn't feel super surprised by it. My first initial thought was, I hope people are nice to him on this stupid website, because you know how people are. But I mean, if they're bringing him back, it's obviously for a reason. It's not because, like, if they thought he was that bad, he would have been gone a long time ago. Obviously, he didn't have a phenomenal year in 2020, like no interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, nothing super special. But I mean, he did have a great year in 2019. So you just kind of hope maybe with Joe Barry coming in and different scheme that they'll be able to work on something. And I mean, Joe Barry talked about tackling, which is obviously Kevin King's biggest weakness, is being able to wrap up. So I think maybe I don't know the insides of what conversations were happening, so everything I say is just assumption, but you think that these conversations are happening and talking about what you can do to improve his game. Like, he has the talent, he has the ability, he has the build you want in a cornerback, and he's shown flashes. Is the thing, is that he didn't have like a just flat year, like horrible all around. He has what Kevin King has, is he has a very high and a very low. So trying to find the consistency in his game is going to be really important going into this year. And just because he re-signed doesn't automatically make him a starter. They could still draft guys. He could still be cornerback 2. He could not start. It's just, in a year, especially with COVID and pandemic and injury prone position, having a little bit of familiar depth probably won't be the worst thing. And if you can get him on a cheap deal, it is what it is. I mean, am I really thrilled? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm kind of neutral, I think. I wasn't really mad. I was kind of excited, actually, just because I'm excited for him as a person. And I think that, or kind of like my big hope in the end, is that he has this comeback year and just kind of puts all the doubt aside and he becomes the cornerback that we know he can be under this new defensive coordinator.
I like that you mentioned you mentioned Joe Barry, because he plays a scheme where, Kevin King is going to have a little bit of better safety help behind him. There's going to be a little more dependency on the safeties. Darnell Savage is going to be probably playing in that robber roll down, closer to the line of scrimmage, down in the slot. So hopefully the Packers, they supplement his absence kind of on the back end with someone good. Hopefully it's not like, I don't want to slander Will Redmond or anything like that, but someone of that skill level back there. But Kevin King, his biggest issue, and Eli actually mentioned this a lot, he doesn't trust his speed. He has this 6'2" frame. He's wide wingspan, but he's just not very fast. And we saw spurts of that in the NFC Championship game. And like you said as well, this is the same thing I attributed to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. When the highs are high, the lows are low, and you notice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much easier to pick on a player when he's playing like shit, and as opposed to when he's playing great, and you don't really have anything to say at that point. So Kevin King, in his case, you're right. It did seem like a joke at first, as far as like, all these free agents on the market, all these great corners. There's Richard Sherman out there. There's Casey Hayward. I mean, Malcolm Butler, I think a few years ago, he was a pipe dream amongst Packer fans. And I think even to this day, he was, up until this morning. But then that reality started to kind of settle in a little bit. And you're right. He's not going to be slated to step into that starter role immediately, just because, they gave him that $6 million deal, which probably won't even come up to $6 million. I'm sure there's going to be some expenses.
I've read maybe closer to 4.
Yeah.
And that it's going to probably just be incentives. So, because it's a prove it deal is what it is.
Exactly. And I still think, regardless of whether it's Kevin King or whoever else, Kadar Holman, Josh Jackson, I mean, they're going to have guys in camp to battle for these spots, and they're going to bring in, fingers crossed, they're going to bring in a couple rookies who are going to be able to compete for these jobs. And for all we know, that could be J.C. Horn starting opposite Jair Alexander. We have no idea. It could be Kevin King on the perimeter, Jair on the other perimeter, and Elijah Molden in the slot. We have no idea what the plan is going to be. It's all going to shake out in camp. But
I know you seem kind of indifferent on Twitter. I was waiting to hear what you were going to say here, because I had no idea where your thoughts were on it.
I was indifferent, because at the same time, if we bitch and moan and complain about it, I mean, really, what is it going to do?
It's already done. So
yeah,
all you can really do is be positive. And I think that's what's frustrating too, is people who try and be positive about it get slandered. And it's just, Packers Twitter was disarray yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was.
I thought it was funny. I like sitting back and just sometimes watching the chaos unfold. I haven't been in the middle of that chaos for a very long time. So sometimes it's nice to just kind of sit back and watch everyone else rip each other apart. The thing is, I don't think
according to Twitter, I should not be talking football anymore. So you should actually be doing the show alone, but
probably.
Oh my gosh, you froze for a second. I was like, please don't.
Oh no, that was just my shitty internet.
Okay. I can't be here alone.
What would you do theoretically if that happened? Like, if
I don't want to play that game.
If I just happen to click leave studio right now, what would you do?
Don't do it. I would also leave. I don't know if Jacob's still here or not, but I don't think he is. So I would have no control. I think the show would end because you're in charge.
That is true.
So don't play that game.
Rambo LeBeau is right. He is. Hold on, let me. There we go. Yeah. See, I can do things. I can do stuff behind the scenes.
He has so much confidence in me. I appreciate it. I mean, I could just read off my stat notes and hope for the best.
Well, we'll get to those. No, but as I was saying, the most annoying thing is people telling other people how to be a fan and this and that. Part of what makes following the Packers and stuff, part of what makes this fan base so diverse and just so fun to be a part of, no matter the capacity you follow it, whether you cover the team or you're just a fan or a casual fan, whatever, part of what's so beautiful about it is there are no restrictions. You can follow the team in any nature, you know, regardless. And I mean, you have this whole fan base on Twitter, like a whole online community of Packer fans. Like it's weird. I feel like I stumble across new people. Like just when I feel like I have scraped every last crevice of this online Packers community that I've been a part of for the last 6 years, just when I've thought I have scraped every last crevice,
6 years, give or take.
6 years, give or take, there's like new people sprouting. You know, there's it's weird. They're like breeding amongst each other. But I think we should dive into Marcedes Lewis. Parker brought him up here.
I was gonna say, see, I wasn't super worried because I knew you were gonna talk about Lewis for about 20 to 30 minutes worth of the show. So you're trying to lean on me, but I know that you're gonna take the reins on this one because this is your guy.
Well, I actually wanted to ask you first. I wanted to let you know. Little head tilt. You weren't expecting that, huh?
No.
I wanted to know if you believe this was something that was necessary. Because a lot of people out there, they'll look at something like this and think, oh, a 2-year, $8 million deal for a soon-to-be 37-year-old tight end. He turns 37 in May.
Mm-hmm.
They'll look at something like that and they'd be like, wow, that's one of 2 free agent signings the Packers have made this spring, the other being a long snapper. What was your, like, do you think it was a necessary move?
I think 100%, just because of who Marcedes Lewis is and everything, because obviously your articles on him are my favorite, just kind of reading what he has done in the locker room. Like it's kind of almost like Tramon Williams. When he talks, everyone listens. And I think just having that personality in the locker room is so important. What he brings on the field is phenomenal. He's kind of like a secret assassin. He doesn't put up the big stats, but what he does is it's important. Blocking, he's just a big body out there. But just who he is as a person, I think, is so important to this team. And you can tell that him and Rodgers have a very important connection. So I think bringing him back on a 2-year deal, which is phenomenal for him because it's just kind of been 1 year here and there. So to know that you have him for 2 more years, just because you signed, like, if he's not on the field all that much, whatever. But his presence alone is going to boost this team up because they need that older, wiser voice to kind of tell it how it is. And he's also that also doesn't take away from the great player he is, though, because when he does get those touches, he knows what he needs to do with the ball. So I think I didn't see anybody who was upset about this, thankfully, because he's just one of those players that you're excited to have on your team, regardless if he's on the field or not. So I was pumped. I'm still excited about it. And everybody who was calling for Goot's job when Kevin King signed, hopefully they were a little quiet when Marcedes Lewis signed, because everybody that I have seen thought this was the right move, especially because I know I've seen those conspiracies that what does this say about Rodgers' contract? And it just kind of leads to all those in-depth conversations. But I think the team is better with Lewis on it, regardless of how many snaps he's in for. And now I'll let you go on your 10-minute spiel.
Well, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. I mean, he's so much more of a valuable presence than on the surface. I mean, he does. You look at his numbers, obviously they're nothing spectacular, but everything he does.
He had 3 touchdowns last year, not horrible for a tight end.
He did,
considering how many tight ends are on this team.
I agree. I'm with you 100%. Everything else, I mean, he doesn't have to.
I had to pull one of my stats that I wrote down.
Yeah. No, any chance you get to throw, I mean, you did the research on those stats, so any chance you get to throw them out there, do it.
Yeah, he had 107 yards, 17 targets, but only 10 receptions. But continue.
I do remember one specific play in Tampa Bay back in October. Rodgers had him down the seam, and he just overthrew him a little bit. Mm-hmm. So his numbers would have been even better. Which
he's 6'6", so it's hard to overthrow him. But
right. So that just shows you how off Rodgers was on that game. But
yeah,
regardless, the answer to that question, by the way, for $20,
For
money's
$20. I didn't see. Oh, next comment.
money. Money's money, man. But no, he's that voice, and as I've mentioned before, and as I've been talking about all off season, just hoping that they re-sign him. He just has that voice, that experience, and you even heard like when Aaron Rodgers spoke after the NFC Championship game loss. Marcedes Lewis is one of the guys that he mentioned would probably be leaving the team. And, he thought maybe the team was going to be blown up, wasn't going to be the same guys coming back in 2021. Like that was their last really, really good chance to kind of.
Oh my gosh. My cat's just knocked over my light. I knew that was going to happen at some point.
Today's just a bad day, isn't it?
It is. They usually sleep through the show. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, sorry.
Aaron Rodgers is more ecstatic than everybody to have Marcedes Lewis back. And Justin also made a very good point earlier about, David Bakhtiari still being out.
There's not earthquakes in Minnesota. It's just my cats.
Earthquakes in Minnesota, eh?
Eh? Oh, yeah.
He makes a good point about Marcedes Lewis being that sixth extra offensive lineman. And now they brought Aaron Jones back. So Aaron Jones is probably also going to be pretty stoked to be running behind someone like Lewis. I mean, This also gives the Packers a chance to, with one of their 9 draft picks, to potentially draft a guy and have him learn under Marcedes Lewis for a year. So by 2022 or 2023, however long, because I know the contract is 2 years, but I'm sure there's some kind of language in it where it just kind of like narrows down to a year,
Yeah, I don't think there's been specifics. I follow Ken for all that, and he, at the last thing I saw, there was nothing really new on the contract, but
usually when I need answers pertaining to the financial aspects,
yeah,
I just go to Ken. But yeah, it gives him an opportunity to find a guy with those similar skills and groom him for a year or two under Lewis, and that, he'll be ready to take over that role. So really, it was just like a no-brainer kind of signing. And I think it was probably the best signing the Packers probably could have made, arguably, at least. I still want them to get Richard Sherman, but I mean, that's like a pipe dream at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just look at Marcedes' Twitter, he's ready, he's hungry, age is just a number to him, so don't expect him to be out there and show age or anything like that. I'm excited to see what he brings.
Yeah, I mean, he does his job and he does it well, and this is why he was brought back on 3 consecutive 1-year deals, and now he gets a 2-year deal. So yeah, Jacob Westendorf, he wants Tommy Tremble. I keep seeing his name. See, I mentioned this last night. I'm not as what's the word? I'm not like as in tune with the draft this year.
Invested.
Yeah, like invested. I don't know what it is. Like my motivation is like killed this year. I have no idea, but
this is where we need Eli.
Well, I mean, I still know guys like Zaven Collins and
well, I know, but he sent me his running list of basically everybody who's been in the conversation, and
yeah, Eli, we miss you. But yeah, Tommy Tremble is a guy whose name I keep seeing floated around out there, at least amongst Packers Twitter, because we know Matt LaFleur loves those guys that can block, those guys that play in the hybrid positions. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers potentially give him a look. Jen, what's up next on your notes?
Well, I mean, touch on Joe Fortunato. We kind of talked about, like, I don't know how to talk about a long snapper except for that they signed somebody, so you're welcome, Packers fans. He'll compete with Hunter Bradley for that position. How you put out an article on a long snapper, I don't know. Props to you, but it's not like they have stats or anything. And I don't know, just watching highlight reels of a long snapper, it's like, hey, good job.
Well, I don't want to say it's not important, but it's worth noting the Packers, they've had continuity. And I actually, surprisingly, I was able to do a story on a long snapper because of everything Marie Strayton said about, some of the specialists having their backs against the wall. So that's what makes this signing kind of interesting, at least a little bit, which I never thought. in my goddamn life I would ever say, wow, this signing of this long snapper is actually kind of interesting. Wow. But in Hunter Bradley's case, I mean, he's started every game for them since 2018.
Yeah, since who was it? Was it Brett Goody?
Brett Good.
Brett Good.
Nice.
I'm friends with it. I have a friend who's actually his cousin, so that's my little claim to fame. But
Oh, okay. Well,
I
make sure to
know.
clip that up and post it on social media.
I will.
No, they had Rob Davis for 10 seasons. Then they went to Brett Good for another. I don't even remember the number, but it was a good while. And then from Brett Good, they went straight to Hunter Bradley. So they've had continuity at the long sniper position. Now it's Hunter Bradley. Now they're entering this a little bit of a foreign spot that they're not really used to. At least they haven't been for over 2 decades now, where they're unsure of who their long snapper is going to be this year. So
They don't know who's snapping the ball for anybody right now.
that's actually also a good point. Yeah, we don't even know who the starting center is going to be. Yeah, I mean, my gut says it'll be Lucas Patrick. Or they could slide Elton Jenkins in there, and then Lucas Patrick and John Runyon are your 2 starting guards. I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. But it's still, regardless, it's a good point. We have no idea who's even going to be snapping the ball at either of those spots.
It's kind of concerning because that's where it all starts. So
Yeah, that's why I thought Corey Lindsey would have been the guy they bring back as opposed to Aaron
I
Jones.
was so on the Lindsley over Jones train. Not that I'm mad that Jones signed, but it's like to me it seemed more reasonable to bring back the guy who protects Rodgers and has that connection. But Aaron Jones is also an irreplaceable player, so you were gonna lose one of them, and I thought we were losing both actually.
It's kind of like in Miracle when Herb Brooks had to cut that guy, and he didn't want to.
Ralph
But
Cox,
and he had to trim the roster down to 20 players, and
Yep.
he was the 21. Yeah,
I'm so proud of you.
See, I watched it.
Watch the first half.
Okay, I watched like the first hour.
But that is the saddest part of the movie, like to see a guy get cut like that. But anyways,
it gives you kind of like a look into like the reality.
To see somebody who works so hard and is so good to have to let him go. Yeah. Relatable. See, told you should have watched this movie a long time ago. I even wore my USA Hockey sweatshirt because I knew you watched it. I was so proud. And Eli did too, but he's not here for me to congratulate him on.
Eli watched it?
Yeah. I told you he made me watch both Anchormans. And he watched it like a week ago.
Regardless, there are some very intriguing conversations happening right now in the comments. I miss Eli and his yeah. Yeah, we do too. His very, very unique look. So that covers the long snapper.
I also had the Aaron Rodgers contract restructure question mark.
You threw the question mark in there.
I did, because I really don't know what's going on with it.
I mean, it's not even really a restructure because they can't restructure it, so it's more than likely going to be an extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they're going to add void years to it. But either way, if they give them the extension, it's going to open up some money. And they need money right now regardless.
Yeah.
A little south of $3 million to sign their draft class.
Which I'm seeing a lot of people, and so tell me where your thoughts are on it. A lot of people, especially the talking heads, are saying that Rodgers doesn't owe this team any kind of restructure or extension where moves his money around. But I mean,
well, then that pokes a hole in everybody's like, oh, Rodgers doesn't have a good team around him, blah blah blah, because they would theoretically be giving him that extension and trying to create cap space right now so they could sign some guys and do what they need to do so they can supply him with a little bit of a better football team that can compete. So it would poke a little bit of a hole in those arguments, but they're right in a sense. Because Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't owe anything to anybody.
Right. He's earned his money.
Yeah, he's earned every last cent. If he doesn't want to, sign some kind of like long-term extension with the Packers or anything like that, then that's fine. there's this emotional attachment to players, and like the narrative that they need to do things to benefit the organization and this and that. Like the organization is owed certain things by a specific player. No, Aaron Rodgers has been out there busting his ass
I
for
was
this.
gonna say, I feel like they owe him more than he owes them.
Yeah, he has literally, I don't want to say he's carried this team, but for the last 13 seasons as their starter.
That, though.
Huh?
You could relatively say that, though.
You could.
Through a lot of, like, because you saw what happened when he got hurt, how badly they needed him.
It is true. I think if they had a little bit of a better succession plan in place, like they might do, right? Like they might.
This is why you prepare for that.
Like Jordan Love. Yeah. Instead
of having Hundley, who I did not like from the start of training camp when I first saw him, but anyways.
I'm not gonna lie, I liked Brett Hundley a little bit. I thought he could have done some good things.
I had a bad vibe from him, and that was enough.
What?
I remember watching him at training camp, and I just got a bad vibe from him. I was like, I don't know, he's not it. But they also don't have Tim Boyle now, so if something happens to Rodgers, I don't know.
Well, the hope is with a little more of like an off season that has some more of a sense of normalcy, as opposed to whatever the hell last year was in the middle of the pandemic, which I think a lot of people forget. I mean, Jordan Love was stepping into the pros, a very condensed virtual off season, no preseason, no opportunity to really showcase anything. He was doomed from the start, and everyone's using like he was inactive for 16 games and plus the playoffs, blah blah blah, and this and that. Of course he was. I mean, if you're the Packers, you're not going to show your hand with this first round quarterback you drafted.
Right.
Because there's still a chance that you can use him as trade bait in the future. There's no guarantee that this man is going to be Aaron Rodgers' successor.
But just the amount of teams that would be like, oh my gosh, he has worked under Aaron Rodgers. He has potential. He knows kind of that mindset. And
yep.
And it's not the worst plan. I was mad when it happened, but we're a month away from the 2021 draft. It's time to let it go.
And you look back the years before they took Love. No, I'm not. No, I am not trolling. I want you to explain to me. Give me a good reason why I am trolling. Not some bullshit either. I want you to give me a good reason why I'm trolling. Look at 2013. Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. 2014, he had the calf tear. 2015, healthy the whole year, but he had a minor cleanup after the season on his knee from an old high school injury. 2016, made it through the year okay. 2017, broke his collarbone again. 2018, tibial plateau fracture in his knee plus an MCL sprain. 2019, he was good. Oh, here you go, Jen.
Oh, thanks. Yes, I'm here too, despite all the love for Zach in the chat.
No love for me. I just got called a troll. What do you mean?
If you scroll up later.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But the point is, Aaron Rodgers was injured almost every single year, and now you're giving him an opportunity to have a good backup behind him in Jordan Love for the first time since. I mean, I don't even want to call Matt Flynn a good backup. He had a couple of good moments.
Well, you think about all the backups that floated around. At one point it was Tolzien, and when he wasn't working, it was Seneca Wallace, and then it was whoever.
Vince Young was even in there, for God's sake.
I think history has shown we're kind of a mess when something happens with Rodgers, and they want to plan for the future. And I am one who has advocated so much, just because you draft a quarterback, he doesn't need to start. I think those quarterbacks have less chance for success unless they're a superstar out of the gate. But a lot of these teams that rely on that first round draft pick to come in that year and make a difference, you see them really struggle and acclimate to the NFL. So I was upset that they traded up for Jordan Love and kind of what was going on with it, but I also understand it. I understand the mindset of, hey, if you can get a year or two with Jordan Love under Rodgers, kind of acclimate him to the NFL, get him familiar with the team, it's going to be a lot better in the long run, either as trade bait or as your starter. So over time, I've gotten over the move.
Exactly. I think if you look at it from the lens like, Cole, I'm not smirking while reading your comments. Actually, if I look at your comments, I actually feel like a deep, burning hatred inside of me. Oh, wait, wrong. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding, Cole. I love you. But
Are you gonna leave
if
that?
you look at it through the lens that they have a guy right now coming off an MVP season who they didn't know was going to play at an MVP season, but they still have the opportunity to compete with Aaron Rodgers for the foreseeable future, at least through the duration of his contract, while also grooming the potential future behind him. But I think we went off like on a little bit of a tirade.
I was
with
gonna
the whole
say
Rodgers
that it went from Aaron Rodgers' contract to, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's all fair conversation, and with the draft coming up, it is somewhat relevant.
It is. I'm glad.
I mean,
you
to be
mentioned the
fair,
draft.
Packers Twitter has kept it relevant all these months. So
Yeah, I feel like Jordan Love is mentioned every single time I log into that godforsaken app. I'm glad you mentioned the draft because one guy that Eli was actually going to highlight today is Tulsa inside linebacker Zaven Collins. I have to go down and find the clip right
are
here.
you gonna talk over the clip like Eli does, or you're just gonna play it? And
Well, I feel like if I just put a clip on the screen and I just play it and it just goes silent, I mean, that would be kind of awkward, right?
I'm excited to see how you do this. All right.
All right, here goes. Look at him right here. Oh my God. Look at him shoot that gap. Oh my God. That's a safety. Good Lord.
Oh
Sorry,
my
I'm going to stop doing that. No, but really, you see, speed isn't his thing.
He is just a monster. Like, he looks so big compared to everyone else out there.
He is. He looks
Because
like
he's
playing in
6'4", 260 pounds from my
Yeah.
stats.
Thanks. He looks like he's varsity playing in like a JV league. He's just like a man amongst a bunch of little kids. Here he is. He doesn't play in like a traditional kind of like middle linebacker spot. He always gets closer to the line of scrimmage, at least from what I've seen. And also from what I've read, speed isn't really his biggest trait, his best trait. It's instinctiveness, it's explosiveness, the ability to kind of like move laterally, which
He may not be quick physically, but his mind works quick, and that's how he gets to where he needs to be.
Yeah, which I think I like to make the comparison to Blake Martinez a lot because he was kind of like the anti Zaven Collins. Like he was not explosive. He didn't have that sideline to sideline speed. He didn't shoot gaps very well. A lot of his plays were made a couple of yards past the line of scrimmage. He didn't blow plays up pretty much, and that was a big issue with him.
Well, and look at like he's so patient too. He doesn't jump easily. He reads it, and he's really good at finding who has the ball and where he needs to be.
Yeah,
like he just waits, and
like right there, he just relaxed, backed up to the goal line, just swat that shit back in their face. Get that out of here.
Which I wonder if this is one of his 4 interceptions, and he had 2 touchdowns in his last year, so this was obviously his longest one. I think this one maybe 98 yards, I read.
It's him. It's Zaven Collins and Micah or Micah, however you want to pronounce it. It's Zaven Collins and Micah Parsons. Those 2 guys, the 2 top inside linebackers in this class. I would love if the Packers took either one of them. But the thing is, you have 2 guys in Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin. You invested a 4th round pick in or 5th round? They didn't have a 4th round pick last year. It's a 5th round pick, I believe. They invested a 5th round pick in Kamal Martin. He went into the season with that knee issue. He had surgery in early September. So it took a little while for him to get his sea legs under him. Once he did, we saw that speed. We saw the same type of explosiveness that we see from Zaven Collins. He just had an issue finishing plays. Couldn't wrap guys up. Couldn't make the tackle. And that's workable. That's something you can fix.
Yeah. Which I always appreciate when I see a guy who knows how to tackle and wrap up low. The only times I ever saw him hit high were when he was the second contact, which I thought was really important because the guy's already going down. And I don't know if I saw any of these in there, but I remember because it was like an hour ago that I was watching some highlight film, and he drops back into coverage a lot too. And that's how he has those 4 interceptions on his last year. So I know you're not exactly a fan of watching Preston Smith do it, but with his size, he's just kind of obstruction out there for these quarterbacks. So he's very dangerous on the line. He's dangerous in coverage. And it's funny because watching him, I'm kind of like, he looks like a tight end who knows how to tackle. That's kind of what it looked, because he has tight end body build, but he knows how to tackle a guy. So, and he obviously has the coordination to catch those passes too if he drops back. And again, his patience is important too, not biting on whatever's going on. And I don't know, I didn't see any of those dropbacks in there, but that is something that I noticed that he has done frequently.
It's good that you mentioned that he drops into coverage a lot, because I know a lot of people hate that. They hate that they see Preston Smith do it, and me including one of them, as you said. But you know, a guy like Zaven Collins.
It depends who you drop back, though.
Right, a guy like that, he's like I said, he's not fast, but the thing is, he's quick to react.
Mm-hmm.
He's smart. He like the play kind of develops in his mind, I guess, before it happens. And yeah, as Lambeau LeBeau said right here, he pretty much does it all. He's like a complete, total package. And that type of guy, that game-changing linebacker, is something that the Packers haven't had in a very, very long time, since probably Nick Barnett. So having a guy like that, you know, like the Buccaneers, they have Devin White. They had Levante David. I think they re-signed him. I believe they re-signed him. Regardless, have, whatever. They had Devin White and Levante David, 2 solid middle linebackers, and that made all the difference for your defense. If you have 2 guys like that, thank you, Lambeau LeBeau. If you have 2 guys like that patrolling the second level and just completely shutting down the heart of your defense right there, that's huge, and that changes everything. It's like having a Darnell Savage on the back end at safety.
Mm-hmm.
That completely changes the complexion of your defense as well. So while I love Chris Barnes and I love Kamal Martin, I wouldn't hate if the Packers invested in a guy like Zaven Collins and just gave him that one true middle linebacker.
Yeah.
You know, that guy that is just becomes kind of like the heart of their defense. I don't see it happening. And Eli's probably smoking crack, but regardless.
It's wishful thinking. But we obviously never know what they're going to do in the draft, so can't rule anything out.
I give up. Yeah, I give up trying to predict what the hell this team is going to do.
I would not have said quarterback, running back last year. Not at all, but...
Yeah, like I mean, I tweeted this last night. The sensible thing for them to do, it seems like this year, would be some kind of combination of offensive tackle or defensive back with their first, you know, in the top 64. Any kind of mixture, whether it's going to, you know, at 29 or wherever else.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on, I can bring this comment up. Greg Newsome II. Every time I see his name, I get it confused with Craig Newsome. But regardless, Craig Newsome, former Packer cornerback.
I don't know everybody like you do.
Okay, well, I don't know everybody either. I'm an idiot. Like I said at the beginning of the show.
That's fair. You did warn everybody.
You gotta know Craig Newsome. You gotta know Doug Evans.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just throwing that out there.
I'll do my homework. Sorry.
For us to continue this show for the foreseeable future, you have to know those names.
All right, write down a list of people I need to know and put in my filing cabinet brain that I don't have.
No, I don't think Tyson Campbell is cornerback 1. But you're funny, Riley. Keep trolling. I think that covers everything.
The last thing that we had was the Packers being in the top, like one of 3 teams for hosting the draft.
Oh, right. What year?
I don't know.
Well,
I was at work, so I sent it to you guys hoping one of you would have read the article.
Well, as you can tell, I don't read anything, and Eli is no longer with us.
Yeah, don't
I
say
probably
it like
shouldn't
that. My gosh.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say it like that. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Packers
Eli
are
is
one
not
of three
currently
teams.
here.
Eli is not currently here alive. I mean, here. Sorry. The Packers are one of three teams in the running to host the NFL draft, and that answer could come in May, according to Sam Silverstein of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
I didn't know if there's anything more to it, the article I sent you guys, but I don't know. I feel like they're always in the talk and we get like wishful thoughts, and then because it's Lambeau, never happens.
Yeah, the narrative is like
It's
Lambeau.
like we're always there, like, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, and it's like tiny and not going to be enough hotel accommodations for people, which
Yeah.
I mean, they have visiting teams and stuff show up and they get by just fine. So I mean, that's funny. Lambeau LeBeau, you are funny. You are a card. I think that just about wraps up the show here. Jen, did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
I did not. That was the end of my notes.
All right,
So,
good.
I don't think, unless something happened while we were recording, I think that's really all the news, which I'm glad that there was news for us to talk about, because I don't know what we would have done today otherwise.
Hey, well, for just the two of us, 42 minutes is pretty good. I would like to think we put on a decent show. I mean, according to Justin, we did pretty well. So that's all I need. Parker,
Yes.
Thank you. Riley, Lambeau LeBeau, everybody, all you guys, thank you for watching and helping us carry the show without Eli, because
Thanks for sticking around without Eli.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for showing up and seeing just us two on the screen.
Because we didn't go live till half an hour late, so
that too. That's another thing. We went live at 7 Central, roughly. And
yeah, 7:02. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys still stuck around and you rode the storm out with us.
We appreciate you for that. We have the best viewers, that's why. My gosh. I'm actually concerned because I haven't heard from him, so knock it off.
Yeah, I was hoping like by the end of the show we would have like heard from him by now, but he'll be okay. Guys, stop saying rest in peace. Come on, you sick animals.
Jeez. Okay. Should have just ended the show.
All right. Everybody, again,
you got to do the plugs though.
We love you all. What? Right. Oh God, I forgot.
You also didn't have the running. I just realized you didn't have the running banner on the whole time. But...
Oh, we'll live without the banner.
Yeah, that's okay. There we go.
Oh, see, I know how to do things. All right, you can follow. Well, he's not here. You can follow Eli at Book of Eli _NFL. You can follow Jen at Big Mac 4.
That's not right. It's Big Mac _4.
Eli, Jesus Christ, Eli, are you kidding me? All right, you know what? Hold on. I can edit this.
It's right on the scroll, but it's not.
I don't know why he screwed that up.
There we go.
There you go. Big Mac _4. That's where you can find Jen on Twitter, and I highly recommend it. Again, if you wanted to, you can find me as well. It's Zachariah J. I think that is it for the banners. Oh, there's the ticker. All right, everything's good. Damn, I am working this StreamYard.
You didn't tell them where they could follow the network.
Can't give me 1 second. He doesn't even have a banner for the actual network. I'm not gonna go through the hassle of creating one. You can follow Game On Wisconsin at Game On WI. You guys already know that.
Across all socials.
Across all socials. Yeah, it's the same thing everywhere. So again, thank you everybody for watching. We love you all. We'll be back. I stuttered very violently. We will be back next week at 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific time, which is the superior time zone, obviously.
That's a lie. That's why we run that's why the tweets go out in Central time.
All right, everybody. Thank you. I'm not gonna bother playing the outro because I'm gonna mess that up. I feel like
you just clicked the video, but okay.
Where is it?
It's kind of like when you played the Zavon Collins one. Oh my gosh. Maybe we should have just cut the show.
It's okay. I think I see it. It's like the same thing as the intro, right?
It might be. I feel like I should know that, but I don't.
All right. You know what? All right. Goodbye. Oh, goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching. We love you all. Goodbye.
Wentz. Rodgers gets out. Throws it. Cobb. Touchdown. Rodgers. Surveying. Fires. That's caught.